The first time I saw her, she was a beautiful mess. She was in a silk robe, her hair only half styled, and pure panic was written all over her face. She was frantically searching for her missing earrings. Now, I wasn't supposed to be there. Not really. I was just the wedding photographer and observer, paid to be invisible, not a participant. But the moment Lena looked at me with those tear-filled hazel eyes, something inside me shifted. "Can you help me?" she asked, her voice breathless as she held up an empty jewelry box. I just nodded, my eyes scanning the chaotic hotel room. The air was thick with the scent of perfume and the palpable hum of nerves. Bridesmaids were buzzing around like frantic bees, but all I could see was her barefoot, beautiful and trembling. I spotted the earrings sparkling near a bouquet of white roses and handed them to her. As she took them, our fingers brushed. It was electric, fleeting, and dangerous. "Thank you," she whispered, and her gaze met mine for just a second too long. That single second stayed with me for the rest of the day. As the ceremony began, I hid behind my camera, doing my job. I captured the smiles, the joyful tears, the sacred vows. She spoke to a man who clearly adored her. And yet, when their lips met for the first kiss, her eyes found mine through the lens. My heart just stopped. It wasn't longing, not exactly. It was something quieter, deeper, almost like recognition. Later, at the reception, I tried my best to stay professional, but every time I lifted my camera, she was there, dancing, laughing, absolutely glowing. Well, a bride should glow, I told myself. That doesn't mean the glow is for me. Then she walked over. In between dances, a glass of champagne in her hand, she stood right in front of me, and I froze. "You've been staring?" she teased, a playful glint in her eyes. Is that part of the job description? I could feel the heat rise in my cheeks. "Occupational hazard," I managed to say. She offered a smile. It was soft, tired, and incredibly honest. "You look like you understand me more than anyone else here does," she said. I had no idea what to say to that. But God, I wanted to. Later that night, I found her alone on the balcony, the muffled sounds of the party fading behind her. The city lights stretched out below us like a carpet of fallen stars, and she looked so small against the vastness of the night. "You should be inside," I said gently. I needed some air. She turned to face me. "Do you ever do something just because it's what's expected of you? Not because it actually feels right?" Her words cut straight through me. I took a step closer. "All the time," I admitted. She let out a shaky breath. "I love him. I really do. But when I looked at you earlier today, it felt like I remembered something I'd forgotten I even wanted." A thick, forbidden, and tender silence hung in the air between us. I knew I shouldn't have, but I took another step closer. "Lena," I whispered, her name feeling foreign and yet so familiar on my lips. "You're married now." She smiled, but it was a sad, wistful smile. "I know." Her hand reached up and gently brushed my cheek. "If things were different?" "They're not," I said softly, even though every part of me was begging to lie, to create a fantasy world where they could be. A single tear slipped down her cheek, and without thinking, I reached up and wiped it away, the intimacy of the gesture hitting me a second too late. For one suspended moment, the entire world just disappeared. The music, the guests, the vows she had just made. It was just us, standing at the very edge of something we both knew we could never have. I'm sorry, she murmured. Don't be, I replied. Some things are beautiful because they can't last. She leaned in and kissed my cheek a touch so light it was barely there and whispered, "Thank you for seeing me." And then she turned, walked back inside, her head held high, that perfect bridal smile painted back on her face. I stayed out on that balcony long after the reception lights dimmed, just listening to the distant echo of her laughter, feeling the ghost of her lips on my skin. Weeks later, when the photos were edited and printed, I delivered them to her in person. She greeted me at the door with a quiet, gentle smile. She was wearing jeans and a loose sweater, a world away from the bride I'd met. "These are beautiful," she said, her fingers tracing the images in the album. "You made me look so happy." "You were happy," I said. She looked up from the photos, right at me. Was I? Her voice trembled just a little, but she closed the album before I could even try to answer. "He's a good man," she added, more to herself than to me. "I know," I replied. "He's lucky." She nodded, but her eyes glistened with unshed tears. "Take care, okay?" I left her doorstep that day feeling like I had photographed more than just a wedding. I had photographed a secret heartbreak, one that no one else in the world would ever see. Months passed. Sometimes I'd see glimpses of her life on social media smiling next to her husband, traveling the world, building the life she had chosen. But every now and then, late at night, she'd like one of my photos. And for a fleeting, beautiful moment, it felt like her way of saying, "I remember too." Love doesn't always arrive at the right time. Sometimes it just walks in, wearing a silk robe on a day meant for someone else, and it leaves before you can even dare to say its name. But for one night, under soft lights and the sound of champagne laughter, I fell for the bride and she almost fell for me. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you'd like this video and subscribe for more. It means the world. See you next time.